And I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'ma drug their ass off and pick them up and pimp them out to my nigga.
It's looking like Diddy's dark past is coming to light, and it's not pretty at all. Don Richard from Danity Kane just dropped a lawsuit bomb that's got everybody talking, but hold up, because it's not just about Don. We're talking about every single member of Danity Kane. Gene just leaked a shocking video of Diddy selling the Danity Kane girls to his friends to rough up and do what they want to the girls. Don's lawsuit is spilling all types of tea, and Gene Deal's video is straight up explosive. We're about to dive deep into some really messy business here. But what exactly did Diddy do to these girls, and how deep does this rabbit hole go? Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one, because the truth is about to come out, and it's not pretty. Okay, so Don Richard's lawsuit isn't just spilling tea, it's tumbling the entire Cleo. How much do you think it costs to buy someone's silence? Because the price tag on this scandal is going to shock you. So Don Richard from Danity Kane just dropped a lawsuit that's got everybody talking, and let me tell you, it's crazy. She's coming at Diddy with some serious allegations that'll make your skin crawl. First off, Don's saying Diddy allegedly touched her inappropriately multiple times, and if that's not bad enough, she says he physically threatened her too. Can you imagine working in that kind of environment? But wait, it gets worse. Don also claims that Diddy locked her in a car for 2 hours as punishment, just to make sure she stayed in line. 2 hours, let alone if it was hot in there. That's some next-level intimidation right there. It's like something out of a horror film, but let Don tell it. It was real life. And the craziness doesn't stop there. Don's lawsuit talks about how she saw Diddy go after Cassie Ventura. We're talking all the violent stuff that was alleged, and allegedly, she witnessed him throwing a scalding hot pan at Cassie. It doesn't end there, because Don is also saying that Diddy had this whole system of manipulating female artists. He'd make them think they had to do whatever he wanted if they wanted to make it big. It's like he was playing mind games with them, making them feel like they had no choice. And this lawsuit is not a joke. Don filed it with something called the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, so we know that she is not here to play. Don is also spilling tea on what went down during the Making the Band auditions. She says Diddy would straight up belittle and intimidate the female contestants. And get this, Don says Diddy would insist on holding meetings in his underwear. All this mess has really messed Don up too. She says she's still got PTSD and anxiety from everything that happened. And honestly, can you blame her? It sounds like a nightmare. Now, if you thought that Don's story was wild, hold on to your wigs, because Diddy's former right-hand man just dropped a bombshell that'll make your jaw hit the floor. Yeah, I'm talking about Mr. Gene Deal himself, Diddy's ex-bodyguard. He's got some tea to spill that's juicy as F. Now, Gene Deal isn't just some random dude. He was right there in Diddy's inner circle, seeing all the behind-the-scenes mess. And let me tell you, what he's saying about Diddy and Danity Kane is straight up shocking. So, get this, Gene claims he heard Diddy talking about the girls from Danity Kane in a way that'll make your skin crawl. He says Diddy was allegedly planning to drug them all out and pimp them to his friends. But it gets worse. Gene is painting a picture of Diddy's world that looked like something out of a horror film. He says Diddy created this whole atmosphere of fear and control, and it was so bad that even if someone wanted to speak up about the messed up stuff going on, they couldn't. It's like Diddy had everyone under his thumb. And you know what? It tracks, because this isn't just some he said. She said Gene claims that it's all lined up with what Don Richard said in her lawsuit. It's like a puzzle piece falling into place, and the picture they're making is ugly as sin. Gene Deal's talking about how Diddy would use threats to keep people in line, like if you stepped out of line, you might find yourself without a job or worse. And it's no wonder no one spoke up before now. They were probably scared out of their minds. Now let's talk about all these NDAs for a second. Gene says Diddy had everybody signing these agreements that basically said, keep your mouth shut, or else it's like he was building this wall of silence around all this nasty stuff going on. So when you put Gene's story next to Don's lawsuit, it's looking like two sides of the same coin. They're talking about how Diddy treated these young women like they were his property, and it's enough to make you just sick. Well, Gene is not holding back either. He's saying Diddy's behavior toward Danity Kane was allegedly straight up predatory. Like he wasn't just being a jerk boss, he was allegedly actively trying to take advantage of these women.
And I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'ma drug their ass off and pick them up and pimp them out to my nigga. He said, I'ma drug them out. I'ma get them all on drugs, and I'ma pimp their ass out to my nigga. And I was like, there's somebody kids, and walked out.
You know what's really messed up? Gene is saying that it wasn't just a Diddy problem. It was like his toxic culture spread all through the music industry. It's like Diddy was just one big nasty fish in a whole pond of them. According to Gene Deal, the whole music industry's been built on quicksand, and now it's all starting to sink. We're talking about a culture of exploitation that's been going on for years. And it's not just one bad apple, it's the whole orchard. You know how they say, when it rains, it pours? Well, it's a straight-up storm with Diddy right now. We're talking at least 7 women and 1 man coming forward with similar claims. It's like once Cassie spoke up, the floodgates opened. And let me tell you, these stories they're telling, it's crazy. It makes your hair stand up. But let's talk about Cassie for a second. Her lawsuit was like gasoline. Suddenly, all these other folks who had been quiet for years felt like they could finally speak up. It was Cassie giving them the green light and courage to come forward and tell their story. But this is what got me shook. There are so many more people that were compliant in Diddy's shenanigans. And Dawn's lawsuit revealed Usher and Ne-Yo for allegedly turning a blind eye. According to Dawn, they saw Diddy put hands on Cassie and didn't do a thing to help her or stop Diddy. But the question here is, were they scared to speak up, or did they just not care? Either way, it's a horrible look. And this whole situation is shining a light on how the music industry has been operating in the shadows for way too long. It's like there's this unspoken rule: what happens in the studio stays in the studio. But now that rule is getting broken, and the truth is spilling out faster than a busted fire hydrant in the Bronx. And it's crazy. We're talking about a system where powerful men like Diddy could do whatever they wanted, and nobody would say boo. It's like these big shots thought they were untouchable, that they could treat people however they wanted and get away with it. And for a while they did. But it's not just about Diddy, it's about all the other big names who might be sweating right now, wondering if they're next. And they should be, because, let's be real, if this kind of stuff is going on with Diddy, who's to say it wasn't happening elsewhere too? I mean, if Diddy was allegedly selling Danity Kane to his friends, what's to say about his friends who were doing the same thing too or buying these girls? The scary part is, this might just be the beginning or the tip of the iceberg. Who knows how many more stories are out there just waiting to be told? How many more artists have been suffering in silence, too afraid to speak up? So yeah, this might just be the start of something crazy big. There's got to be more stories just waiting to be told. And Diddy, is he going to try to settle with Dawn out of court too? Or is he going to try to fight this time? It's kind of hard to tell because Diddy has so many pending lawsuits against him that his lawyers are probably working triple overtime. I just know these lawyers are eating good every time someone else comes forward to accuse him. But I got to know what to think about this. Do you believe that there are even more people that will come forward with their own stories? And what about the rest of the industry? Is this going to be the start of a big cleanup, or are they going to try to sweep it all under the rug? Well, no, the fans have been all over it. They've been leaving comments saying, 15 pages into Dawn Richard's lawsuit against Diddy, and I'm convinced that this ninja is the Antichrist. I've sat here and read this whole Dawn Richard versus Diddy lawsuit, and I'm just going to say this Diddy needs to be under the effing jail. Everybody associated with that man needs to go down too. And justice for Dawn Richard. The more we hear about Diddy, the more of a degenerate he appears to be. This man has hurt a lot of people and deserves to be under the jail. I got to know what to think about this. Dawn was just a part of Diddy's last album. Is she going to get justice? Is Diddy going to pay out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and then check out this next video.